Rise and shine India. Over on a cup of coffee? No, on ET Now, we always say the following. Rise and shine India on a platter of hot business news and a sizzling tip. But today, we are completing 14 years. It's ET Now's 14th anniversary. So we want to start a day over a cup of hot coffee and a delicious breakfast. And that's how we are starting our anniversary at McDonald's with none other than Akshay Jatia, Executive Director of Westlife Foodworld. Akshay, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You know, we start our day every morning with one simple punchline. Rise with India over a business news which is served hot and a tip which is sizzling. But today, it's going to be a warm coffee and some lovely breakfast.
Fantastic, you know, no better coffee than McCafe cappuccino.
Let's talk about a very basic industry, QSR. 15 years ago, it was an aspirational and an inspirational idea to really come to a QSR. But today, it's part of everyone's daily life. The transformation is real. Do you think the transformation is here to stay?
Definitely, you know, I think obviously 20 years ago, it was a foreign food form. When we brought, you know, the license to the country, people obviously thought, you know, how is this going to work? Burgers, no one understood. There was a lot of great work that was done on brand building. Whether it was the Happy Price menu back in the 2000s, our spicy platform in 2010-11, or a lot of work we've done recently around McCafe, our gourmet burgers. As a result, customers have really appreciated the brand, and now it's become kind of, you know, an everyday occasion. You're seeing customers eat here more frequently. The brand relevance, the product market fit has become extremely strong. And Western fast food, QSR, is here to stay and growing very fast. In fact, eating out occasions in India still remain small, around 8 to 10 times a month. But within that, QSR is growing the fastest. And brands like ours are capturing a lot of share because of two reasons. One is we offer convenience, and the second is we offer a great product, great price with a fantastic experience. So I think, you know, we're very excited.
I looked at the data for the quarter gone by for most of the QSR listed companies, whatever is available in public domain. And a very interesting trend is that Indians are eating more burgers, they're eating less pizzas. Is it true?
So, like I said, right, within QSR, burgers and chicken are growing the fastest. Pizza is obviously a very large category, done very well, continues to do well. But burgers and chicken are newer in the sense that, number one, burgers have gained a lot of traction, say, especially even post-COVID, where customers were always, you know, browsing on digital platforms. A lot of gourmet burger options came up. So customers got really enticed and educated about this food form, along with a lot of the work we've done over the past 25 years. Additionally, chicken's the fastest growing protein in our country. Brands like ours, you know, KFC, etc., are doing a lot of work in ensuring that customers taste this chicken in an organized format at great prices, great quality. So I think that burgers and chicken are growing very well. Pizzas are continuing to be a strong category, but yes, you will see higher growth here.
So would you say the QSR industry in India, is it at a young or a nascent stage, or it is fairly mature now? It will grow, but the growth rate will be slower because of the base effect.
I think it's both young and reaching a mature stage where now, you know, brands will continue to do well as long as they continue to offer customers value for money. But at the same time, it's still only, you know, $4-5 billion. Eat out market is around $50-60 billion. So there's so much headroom for growth that, you know, the next years are an endless runway for growth.
You joined your family business very quickly. And even though when you were studying, you decided that this is where you want to be. How come the temptation of not starting a food tech or a ed tech or a fintech, that never distracted you?
So, you know, funny thing, I actually studied in New York. I was at NYU Stern. That time, being a banker, finance, all of that, that was the sexy thing. And I was very enticed. And, you know, I even did some interviews and I was considering staying back in New York. However, as I continued talking to my parents and, you know, kept watching them build this brand, I just couldn't let the opportunity go. The opportunity in front of me was so large, and I felt that it was such a good time because actually this was 2014 when food tech, tech as a space in India just started blowing up. And for me, actually, this was the best place to bring in that entrepreneurial energy and this whole digital tech mindset being a millennial. So in fact, rather than starting my own food tech startup, I started a food tech business within our, scale business, which is our McDelivery platform. And that time it was a very small business, and today it's grown multifold, and it's actually kind of one of the biggest achievements of my life.
COVID has changed the way how Indians eat and how they will consume. What has changed for your business because of COVID?
I think COVID obviously very tough time for the world, for human beings. However, businesses that adapted, that innovated during this period did very well and will continue to do very well. So actually COVID firstly accelerated this whole digitization, urbanization, where customers even in smaller towns, in tier 2s, tier 3s, got exposed to a lot of digital content and browsed all these food delivery websites, brand websites like ours. And as a result, we became a lot more relevant because we were top of mind. We were always available. We did something called contactless delivery, golden guarantee we called it. Customers got really kind of, convinced with our brand trust, with the fact that they can come to a McDonald's and be safe. And that's been ingrained in their mindset, especially during such a tough time for them. And I think that because, number one, our brand relevance and brand trust is strong. Number two, our menu is super strong, where we straddle across all day parts and categories. And number three, we're digitally very relevant. Our brand, jumped multi-fold in terms of growth.
My day starts with a coffee. How does your day start?
Mine too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hindi में देश से हलवाई अपनी मिठाई नहीं खाता कभी, right? सुना होगा आपने भी.
Correct, but
So,
I'm actually...
You're not like that? You come to McDonald's for a meal?
I do. It's one of my favorite meals. I actually crave it, every other week. I probably eat a McDonald's meal once a week, I exercise a lot to stay fit. But coffee, actually, I have 2 times a day. So I love cappuccinos, but now I've moved more towards espressos. And I can't really, do without them.
The whole view is that a McDonald's burger has cheese, it has gluten, and it is going to be adding a lot to my calorie intake. If I eat this McDonald's burger today, which I plan to eat, how much calories would I be consuming right at the morning?
So, our aloo tikki, I can give that as an example.
This is what I'm holding.
This is actually
this is a veg muffin, yes.
But,
it has egg in it.
I'm pretty sure the calorie content must be, close to 200 or 150 calories. If not between 100 to 120, because it's basically a bun with a potato pea patty inside it. And we ensure that it's balanced. Like aloo tikki as an example I was giving, because it's been nutritionally certified as a balanced meal. So it has the perfect amount of carbohydrates, protein, fat. And as a result, customers can actually get a better experience and more nutritious experience, eating an aloo tikki versus eating, somewhere else.
How experimental are you with your menu? How frequently does it change? And I'm blending one more question. How different is the McDonald's menu from the menu what is served outside? Of course, beef, I'm going to take it out because that is obviously much more prevalent in the Western world. But barring the habits, are they different?
So firstly, yes, our menu is almost 95 to 98% local. So it is very different from what you get in the rest of the world. Number two, we've done a lot of innovation. A lot of it happened between 2000 and 2020. We established our, aloo tikki, our McVeggie, McChicken is a global product. Then we did our spicy platform. We introduced McCafe, and more recently we did our fried chicken and our gourmet burger. So today our entire menu revolves around these categories of burger, chicken and coffee. So it's not going to change dramatically in terms of categories, but we continue to innovate. In fact, more recently we did a peri-peri spicy campaign, which was kind of like a gourmet burger. And gourmet burgers within our burger category we launched 2 years ago. Done extremely well.
How frequently are you tempted to do something experimental? Whether it is on your menu, whether it is in terms of reviving and rebooting the corporate culture. How would you define experimentation in your life?
Very important. My dad keeps talking about how innovation, Horizon 2 we call it, Horizon 3 is the most important part to keep growth relevant. Otherwise, you will get absorbed into the day-to-day work. You will get, sucked into nominal growth. But we're looking for exponential growth.
How will you get exponential growth?
So, for example,
add more stores, you'll get more growth. It's simple, right?
Yeah, that's one part of it. But for us, in fact, organic growth is even more important, because same-store sales growth, which is organic growth, basically signifies the health of our business or the health of a retail business. So even if you take McCafe, while today it might seem normal, it was a very big experiment for us back in 2013-14. The economy was going through a downturn. our business was kind of struggling in terms of ensuring that, we kept bringing customers back. But at that time, we spend capex into setting up these McCafe counters when coffee is still a very small consumption area in our country. While it's growing fast, the consumption of coffee in India is at probably the lowest level versus the rest of the world. So McCafe is an example of an experiment that we did. It took, a bold move, it took guts, it took courage, and we scaled it out and now available in around 300 plus restaurants. And it's a growth driver. It's still such a small category for India that it's going to continue to drive exponential growth for us.
What is that big disagreement between son and a dad?
So obviously, parents and children continue to have disagreements. I think that I'm very fortunate that, they've given me such a large opportunity. They've kind of handed over control to me at a younger age, and they're continuing to be there to mentor me and kind of participate more in governance and long-term strategy. I think that, we always obviously have healthy debates around, say, capital allocation. This is something that I have to still learn from them. I'm obviously young, aggressive, ambitious, but they have the experience, which you can never substitute. So, we have healthy debates around capital allocation, around sometimes menu, because that's a huge passion point for my dad. Sometimes, what financial metrics are relevant, because both my parents are extremely kind of financially savvy. So, these are just some examples, but I think that I'm extremely fortunate that we have this platform and that I've been given the opportunity to grow it multifold.
Are you taking most of the executive decisions now?
Yes, along with their guidance, we have a very strong operating team. We recently appointed a managing director, Saurabh Kalra, who's been with us for the last, 20 plus years. In fact, I started off my journey at the company learning from him and my parents. He mentored me, and today we work kind of side by side, taking guidance from my parents and working with our leadership team, which is, young, strong, dynamic, to grow the business.
They say that you should always diversify. You should not have all your eggs in one basket. But you are not diversifying. You're building this existing brand. Now, I can talk about the runway, but in India, the runway will always look good if you compare that with China and Indonesia. What is stopping you from adding more brands? What is stopping you from moving outside the current master franchise, what you have with McDonald's?
So, it's a very interesting question. The thing that McDonald's does, right? If you look at the top 10 brands in the world, McDonald's has always been there. It does $100 billion plus in global sales, which is probably larger than all the competitors put together, behind them. And that's the opportunity we have, because it's multi-category, multi-day part. The convenience is just so strong. The brand power is so strong that, our average unit volume today we've disclosed is around 6.6 crores per restaurant per year. We can essentially double this, in the next 5 years, which will basically double our sales. Our ambition is to obviously double sales by adding new stores too. I'm just giving you a flavor of what's possible. Our highest performing restaurants do almost double this average unit volume. But that's the opportunity we have on hand. And why it's so important for us to remain focused with this brand in the QSR space is because we want to focus our capital and we want to focus our efforts. And that's why, it's no coincidence that our business is doing well, even in a period where consumers are kind of trading down, where you're hearing of consumer sentiment being low. Our business continues to do well. Our results remain differentiated. It's because of our focus. And, I've learned that from my parents. They spent 25 years building this brand. And we've defined in the next 5 years to double, sales from already a 2,300 crore base.
How would you define Happy Meal in your life? McDonald's Happy Meal, yeah. I mean, that's the punchline for McDonald's, right? So for Akshay Jatia, what is the definition of Happy Meal?
So Happy Meal is,
Is it ghar ka dal chawal or a McDonald's breakfast?
A McDonald's meal definitely kind of stands within the consideration set. Home food is something that I really enjoy. I love Indian food too. So I can't, lie and say that that's not also a happy meal for me. A McDonald's meal, I even love pizza. That's why I said pizza is also a very relevant category in our country. But I think that, that's what my consideration set would look like.
Final couple of questions. Gordon Gekko once famously said that every man on Wall Street is chasing a number. What is the number you're chasing for yourself in your life, and what is the number you're chasing which in a sense you think will be rewarding for shareholders? Because you're a listed company, so we chase two numbers, a number which is a personal target and a number for shareholders.
So our Vision 2027 is actually a perfect example of what we're chasing for shareholders. I think it's very ambitious. It's doubling sales, doubling our restaurant base, best in class return on capital, being a dividend paying company, strong free cash flow profile, as well as investing back into the business. 14 billion rupees plus of capex into the business over the next 5 years.